So I'm out at the Star of the West project, which is also the site of the Mount Underwood fire, which is up there. So Star of the West runs down here and all up here. Anyway, you can see the forest fire. Doing a quick walkabout on a few of the roads. Just kind of a first glance after the fire burned through here. So first thing I noticed on this road, you see this volcanic rock, mafic volcanic rock here, where you have epidote. You see all this greenish colored stuff, epidote, and I was finding samples in the road here, just on the side. There's some mineralization in here and in here. You can see all these patches here, chalcopyrite, malachite staining. So I'm finding a bunch of samples in the road, but it doesn't indicate where exactly this showing is. This is just a small part of it, I think. And then I dug in here and we're finding some big samples with lots of mineralization. So somewhere in this area we have a showing, and looks like it's somewhere in this 15-20 meter stretch. There's malachite stained rock up there too. This is on strike of another showing on another road that way. Anyway, we got a few samples lined up here. Two more here. So a good mix of pyrite and chalcopyrite. So a nice little showing to add to the books. Let's keep walking around and see what else we can find. So the showing has a azimuth of about 180 to 190 degrees. So I'm going to walk along strike, which is in the direction of that lone tall standing tree. See what else I can find. So I'm up from the road about 75 meters. About 185 degrees, I come across outcrop, and sure enough, hammered a piece off. You got some malachite staining here and copper sulfides. The interesting thing is this alteration looks like it's running the opposite way of strike. It's running this way in that direction, whereas this was running in this direction. So I'm going to get a sample from here. We can keep going. So I'm now on the same strike. The first two showings were up that way. And you have this rock unit coming through here, which has some mineralization on it, but it actually looks like there's a fault running this way. Along the side of the road, you have mineralization running this way, as well as that way. Anyway, two different rock types. But here's a few of the samples from this area, and there's hordes of them. There's lots of float rocks around here. There's a little showing up there. You can see more mineralization. Looks like it's slightly skarnified. Again, mafic volcanics, but looks a little different. So if you follow the strike, it's roughly this way, and there's showings in the forest up there and a kilometer that way. And you got bedrock over there with mineralization, and you also have bedrock over here with mineralization. You have mineralization coming up on various areas, like you can see here. So it looks like this road is actually built on top of the bulk of where the mineralization would be. But unfortunately, we can't dig up the road today. So we'll go take a look at a few of the samples that I found. Pyrite and chalcopyrite. And magnetite. And the fact that it's underneath the road is kind of confirmed with all of the loose material in the road and all of the piles on the side. You can see here. A lot of these rocks are mineralized. In fact, most of them are. So a nice little showing. This definitely needs some trenching and further work. So yeah, just look at some of the samples now that I'm pulling out of the bank here. Massive mineralization. You got magnetite and all these little bands or veinlets are pyrite, chalcopyrite, and pyrrhotite. So this looks like some kind of skarn And there's lots of samples. This whole area here, you can find hundreds and hundreds of them. So it definitely looks like following this slope here, below this road, down below, going for about 1.5 kilometers, you have showings. And so we have more over here that we found to add to the mix. There's one in the road, one farther up, and then on the other road behind these dead, burnt trees. I'm just down over the bank now, having a look, and I found some of the other rock here that's mineralized, epidote with chalcopyrite mostly. So it's likely the two rock types could be in close contact with each other. Both mineralized. They're both on the same strike roughly. See the big boulder there? So you do have some overlap in your rock. These might be in close contact then. Anyway, not a bad series of showings for the first few hours out in the field. So I was driving out and I just noticed something on the wall. I'm right in between the two roads. One road right here, and the other road is right here. Curves around and goes that way. So initially I went up and hiked from the showing over there on the road, and hiked up, found another one, and then hiked over to the other road where there's mineralization. So I'm sort of in between the two areas now. And what I noticed is this. So we have malachite staining, pyrite, and chalcopyrite in a band running this way. So looks like whatever mineralization was in here has broken off into two separate areas. One of the things about prospecting where there's been a forest fire is all the ground is really loose and unstable, so you have to watch out for falling rocks. I was just driving down and I noticed something rolling down, and a big boulder came down, just narrowly missed the front of my truck, just nicked it, and broke right in front of me. But what's interesting about this boulder is it's mineralized. Right there. So that tells me above the road somewhere in this area there's mineralization. But that's for another day. We'll be back.